with going through a divorce, I think it got, the storm felt so big that I'm like, I'm gonna get destroyed by this. Like, I felt like a little girl again. It brought a lot of these emotions back. I always say when I talk about my story that my parents divorced when I was very young, and my dad kind of had his journey. He was addicted to drugs and just kind of in a rough place. And I always say, I feel like that's where the seed of insecurity was planted. The brokenness that I faced as a little girl, dealing with sexual abuse for many years, and the effects that had on me, now as an adult. But there was so much brokenness there. And then I get into a marriage without healing, without counseling, without kind of facing these issues and expecting, because I love Jesus, that in my marriage is, I try to do things right, that it's just going to go away. It brought a lot of these emotions back, and just put a light on kind of these holes that I felt that I had inside. So going through that process, number one, just in general as a woman, was very vulnerable and very scary. But then as a Christian woman, it was like, where do I go? Where can I turn? I already feel like I can't trust anyone. And then it's like, but how do you open up about something and talk through some of these things when you feel a lot of shame? There was this strong feeling of either unworthiness or just self-doubt, like that started to creep in. And then with different things that occurred in my childhood, it just reinforced this narrative that there was some part of me that wasn't that same like insignificant or unworthy or not enough. So I need to start figuring out how to break these things down to find where God is in this and what the truth is, because right now it all just feels very cloudy. I needed God to kind of guide me, and I'm like, this is gonna be a error. How do you say, like when you try something out, trial and error, basically. I'm gonna do it. I've hit rock bottom at this point. I'm desperate to try something different that could bring some light. Thank God for I started counseling, and I had this narrative in my mind that counseling was a waste of money, or why would you talk to someone so that they can tell you what you want to hear. Even with my marriage, it was that, the storyline. My husband's parents were pastors, and it was like all he saw was counseling within the church community of people coming in and just issues, problems, things that were wrong. And he's like, there's nothing wrong to that extent. We don't need counseling, So there was already a negative kind of vibe when it came to doing counseling. But he did just that, because through my counselor, she was also a pastor, but just so wise and had not an open mind, but just was able to see things so clearly and protect me, but also get me ready for the different stages of divorce, different stages of grief. And that was life-changing for me, because I think I was able to find my voice again through that process. I think we live in a very fallen world, and things happen that are out of our understanding. But I do know that he uses it all. He uses it all. Like, there's not one tear that goes, there's not one broken moment prayer, whatever you think of in your most broken moments, that goes unseen by him, and he uses it all in some way for the good. And even me now, I'm speaking about things that a year, 2 years ago, I would have never told you there could be any good that can come from this place. But there was so much good that came from such a painful place. So if you are a person that finds yourself in the middle of brokenness, of shame, of pain, of just any of these things that we've been talking about in our own healing journey, know that there's hope there. There's good there, that God can use all of it and turn it around for something good.